Now, despite heavy criticism, the NFL managed to finish the 2020 football season without having to cancel a single game. So let's talk about what that could mean for the upcoming 2021 season. And for that, we want to bring in Yahoo Sports senior NFL reporter, Charles Robinson. And Charles, great to speak with you again. You and I have talked about what many call a successful 2020 season for the NFL. It didn't have to cancel a single game. How do you think the league handled the season? What can we expect here going forward?
Well, as you said, I mean, just to pull off the entire season without a missed game and doing it by jumping through hoops, shuffling games back and forth, cutting a quick breakneck speed deal with the union, a little mini CBA right in the middle of this. It showed that the NFL has an ability to pivot, and its union also has an ability to pivot when they both work together. And I think one of the things that we're going to end up seeing the NFL has learned and takes into 2021 and beyond is that less is more. It's been a league that has prided itself on always being able to do more and spend more time and really at times basically burn players out, coaches out, executives out. And now all of a sudden they're figuring out that, hey, we can do a lot of things virtually. We can tone down the offseason, practice schedules. We can even do virtual drafts if we have to. There's going to be less scouting practice. There's a whole new mentality that we don't have to be together all the time or be on the road all the time or be in the facility all the time to get things done, because they look at this season, they say remarkably successful. Players felt fresh toward the end of the season. And hey, guess what? We scored more points than ever in the history of the NFL, which is great for advertising and television.
And Charles, the league has the luxury of having a bit more time after President Biden has said the U.S. will reach herd immunity. We're talking about, obviously, the fall when the football season starts. You talked about the change in mentality within the league. How many of the changes we saw over the last year you think are going to stick even after most Americans are vaccinated? How much of this is going to be a return to pre-pandemic times?
Well, in terms of the testing, the union and the NFL want to continue forward the way that they have operated, the facilities, the COVID testing. I think they want to at least get to a point where the players are all vaccinated, executives. They feel like the franchises, all of the key personnel have all been vaccinated. Now that they've talked about, hey, we're not stepping in front of anybody in line. We're not cutting the line. We're going to take our time and work according to the protocols that are set forth by states. And so, I think you're going to see into May, June, and then even July when you're going to see full vaccinations for NFL teams. But in terms of the safety protocols, because there are COVID variants out there, because there could be new strains that jump some of the vaccinations and we may need booster shots, I think you're going to see a lot of the COVID protocols in terms of the testing and the masking and some of those things, they're going to remain. But I think really the one good thing that has come out of this for the NFL and the NFLPA is that they've said we can react to fluid information and we can make changes quickly. And as the health atmosphere around the country adjusts, we can adjust to that. They've been very good at taking the current set of data and then augmenting what they do moving forward.
Charles, there's talks here of extending the season by a game. I think it's been met with some criticism by some players. Others, of course, are in support of it. What do you think is likely to happen?
Well, I mean, look, it's going to happen. I mean, ultimately, what they had to settle upon was shortening the preseason. And, a lot of owners, I think the union would like to see, hey, maybe one preseason game or two preseason games. And owners flat out said, look, we're not going to cut the preseason by more than one game. We have to have three preseason games because that's revenue to us. And so, okay, if you want to peel one off, that's what the 17th game becomes. But I think everybody agrees that, look, in the long term here, particularly when it comes down to the TV contracts, that extra 17th game is going to be extremely lucrative for the NFL, particularly when you are now in a TV negotiation where Amazon, who I think NFL executives around the league feel like this could be the big bully on the block for future television rights deals, they're entering right at a time when the league wants to add a 17th game. That's more content to sell. And now you have a $1.5 trillion company that is becoming a major content provider in the mix. So even the players, although I think from a health and safety standpoint, they're critical about it, if they see some of the off-season changes that just happened stick in terms of less practice time, less time in the facility, and more virtual activity and then, a lessening of the preseason schedule, I think they're fine with it because they know 5 years from now, league revenues have a chance to surpass that $25 billion mark that Roger Goodell wanted to achieve by 2027.
Yeah, that Amazon play going to be an interesting one to watch. Charles Robinson, Yahoo Sports senior NFL reporter. Good to talk to you today.